welcome back to Where Clarets Walk. If you're a frustrated Burnley fan, well, you are in good company this week. We've got Jordan, Connor and Dan back with us to review that defeat to Preston. And the main talking point here is just how bad is Sarmiento. Adam says, how crap was this, by the way? If we bought Jeff Hendrick back and bought him some blonde hair dye, we'd have exactly the same player. That's our topic for discussion. What is the point in Sarmiento? How many good games does he have for Burnley? People are saying they can count them on one hand. Plus, anonymous Brownhill, people are saying he's going missing too many times. We'll get probably Dan's view on that in a second. We'll also get our February Player of the Month. Don't forget we do the Unsung on this channel. Who deserves more flowers? And who do we want to see in the playoff final? Given Burnley will be going up with Leeds most probably, who do we want to see in that playoff final at Wembley? So delighted to have Jordan, Connor and Dan back with us. Delighted to have you back with us as well. And for the first time in a long time, we're talking about a defeat. So that feels like the universe is back to normal a little bit. Anyway, let's go through it. We're also going to be getting your views on the Zmajevic celebration as well, and also the Preston fans and how they've reacted to it all. Is it very, very wrong? We'll get the panel's view on that in about 10 minutes' time. Let's talk about the actual Burnley players, though, because they're far more important, Jordan. This tweet came in from Jordan, who says, genuine question, how many good games has Sarmiento actually had? I can think of 3 of them being generous. What a waste of a loan signing. So, do you agree, Jordan?
Oh, I completely agree. I didn't actually pay a lot of attention beforehand because he's been a bit of a bit piece player, but now it's been put in front of me. No, I completely agree. He's been a waste of a signing. I think giving him 3 good games is generous. I can just remember one, and that was against Portsmouth when he scored the first goal. Or the second, no, with the first. He's not been that. I think he's too flashy for a championship team, personally. And have you noticed he gets knocked once or twice? He's kind of out of the game, but that's what the championship is. If you're not prepared to get kicked to death for 90 minutes, then there's no point showing up, to be quite honest.
And it just epitomises, I think, Connor, that people's frustrations will come on to Scott Parker changing the team in a minute and people not being very happy with it. But is it highlight that the Burnley B team just aren't good enough?
Well, I think we'll go with that. I thought before the game started, I looked at the team sheet and literally the first sentence came out of my mouth was, we could still compete with this in the league. And I was disappointed very quickly, but no, we weren't good enough and lacked the basics like Scotty P said, just lacked the basics, really.
Yeah. Dan, this was a tweet. We were second best to everything. We hope playing a weak team in the quarterfinals pays off and we get promoted. Otherwise, this will be seen as a huge missed opportunity to get to Wembley. Is that the way that you saw it? Was it a huge opportunity missed?
Yeah, it was. That being said, it would be hypocritical of us to say he should have played the first team, because how long have we been saying now in this podcast, play the second team, we're all right about that. Play the second team, as long as we're getting through, then we're not really bothered about the cup. We've been saying that for ages. So for us to turn around and say he should have played the first team would be wrong of us. If he plays the first team and 2 or 3 of those pick up knocks or injuries that puts him out for the running, he's getting criticised then as well. The frustration for me, Falls, is that team that we put out should be competitive more than we were. I agree wholeheartedly. In the cup, we're not going to win it. Preston aren't going to win it. If Preston get to the final, I will do this podcast naked. I appreciate no one needs to see that.
But don't get to the final.
But, so I get his point. Stick with your second team. Give those fringe players the opportunity to get in their team, but not one of them made a case to get in that first team. I get why he does it. It's a double-edged sword, but they were just poor. It was a poor match, poor game.
Okay. There were a little bit of anger towards Scott Parker, though. This one, the North Ace is saying he lied to 5,000 Burnley fans. He said he was taking the competition seriously and would play the strongest side possible. He didn't, and I've lost what little respect I had against a local rival as well. Gutted, F. Parker. That's unforgivable. Very strong there, Jordan, but there were similar ones saying, look, given the stuff that had gone on with Hannibal and other things, that was one we didn't want to lose. And Parker, didn't take it as seriously as he should have done.
Well, I can understand his frustration because I said last week how much I really wanted to turn up to this game. But to saying you don't have any respect for Parker or you had very little and now you don't have any, that's foolish. We're still third in the championship. I think it's just, it's your emotions straight after the game. A little bit upset. I was on holiday myself, just as the whistle blew. I've been watching it on our player. And yeah, I remember being gutted and it put me in a bad mood for an hour. But no, I think to say you don't have any respect for Parker after getting us up to third with such a good defensive clean sheet and all this and that, that's ridiculous. There's something left to be desired going up front. That's why my thing says sick of it because I'm sick of not even having a shot. But no, I think he's going a little bit over the edge there.
I mean, if you put Cardiff to the sword this week, Connor, it doesn't really matter, does it? If you stick 3 past them, everyone's forgiven. You move on to Luton, so it's just about the league now, isn't it? Are you really that bothered? I mean, if you'd have been knocked out to Bournemouth, would people be bothered that much, or is it the fact that it was Preston?
I think it was a mix of, a mix. It's a mix of nothing, wasn't it? But I think it was just losing in that sort of manner to a local rival, and we could have got to Wembley. But to be honest, if we get second, I'm not arsed. If we don't go to Wembley, I'm not arsed. I think I can go to sleep at night thinking we got promoted instead.
Okay, language, young man. Right, yes. Okay, Dan. Let's do this one with you then, shall we? There wasn't just one player who was getting criticised. There was this guy as well. Caddy says it's a diabolical half of football. How many times does Parker need to see Brownill in the double pivot? Doesn't and never works. He's been anonymous, and this one from Matt Riggs. Another anonymous performance in a big game. Way to go, captain. So we thought we'd give you the floor with this one. How many times are we using the word anonymous associated with Brownhill this season? Are they right?
I like him. No. I've been a big critic of his. It's not been a secret. I think he's very much a passenger in games. I think he can hold the ball. He can play it off. He can play it backwards. I don't think he progresses the team an awful lot, and to make him club captain as well on top of that, I just found a very strange way of dealing with things. I think there are probably better, more suitable candidates. That being said, last week when he came on against Sheff Wednesday, he changed the momentum of the game. He scores a goal with his first touch. We talked about how he might have more in the background, but there's too many times we have too many games. It's not just me who's seeing this, others are seeing it, where he is a passenger in a game. He does a job, he keeps the ball, he rarely loses it, but he knocks it backwards. On the game yesterday, it was difficult for him because he was in a team. Let's be honest, we made 9 changes, and we actually made 11, but personnel-wise, we made 9. The 2 that stayed in the team weren't playing in the same position they ordinarily do, and Brownill comes into that team. They don't have a lot of game time together. They don't play together. The patterns of play weren't there. They just weren't gelling. So to pin it on him about yesterday is unfair. But I agree with that tweet. I thought it was anonymous. And I thought as a captain, he should bring the leader, should bring them forward, have that drive. There's only 2 players, in my opinion, that had any drive or desire or work rate. And that was Coley Orshaw. Don't get me wrong, he didn't have a good game. And Foster. Other than that, you expect more. Your captain's your leader. He should have gone out. He should have set an example, and he didn't. I agree. The tweet. Get him out.
Okay. I don't think we can follow that, can we? No. Jordan, I want to get your view on this. This is the last time we'll talk about this very sensitive topic, I promise. But I've been a little bit concerned with the number of media outlets, and including some very famous podcasts, that have led with a Majic's celebration for likes. Me personally, I don't think we should be making any light of any player who's stands accused, and that was sort of saying accused of racism. But what have you made of the fallout from these? And here's just a couple. This was all in the Burnley feed, by the way. 3-0 I don't think you're listening to. There's lots of Preston fans coming back on saying that's what you get for not shaking his hand. Tons and tons. Oops, sorry, press one button there. Tons and tons of media outlets making a thing of his celebration. What have you made of how Preston fans themselves and Osmajic have reacted to this?
Right now, I'm going to be as what's the word I can use? It very politically correct here in what I'm about to say. Allegedly, he's made a racist remark, but for me personally, I think with that celebration, it put the nail in the coffin for me. It just felt over the top, over-hedged. If that had been me with something that had been put to me, that I'd said that and I hadn't, when I scored, the last thing I want to look at is them for disgusting my name in that vein. To play up to it makes me do think that yeah, he's done something. So that now that's more to the thing of us that it kind of shows us that he probably did. But again, that's all alleged and that's not confirmed. The fan base's reaction to it was absolutely vile. For the simple fact of I wouldn't be celebrating one of our players that had been called out for it. I want to know what had happened. I certainly won't be chanting his name because then I'd look silly if that were to come out true. I completely agree with not shaking his hand for the simple fact of that's not a thing of aimed at him. I think that's more of a brand of we don't accept this in football. If this is what you have done, we want to let you know that it isn't right and it doesn't hold a place. I could talk to you for a while about it. Like you say, I don't really want to because it's not a nice topic. And realistically, when they're saying, oh, well, Osmaich's feelings is hurt, whatever, because of what we've said. Well, yeah, but so are Hannibal's. So let's just neither of us say anything. Let it take due course for what the FA are going to do and what's going to come to head. And let's just leave it at that. People that are using it for just using it as clickbait now, really, aren't they? But a bit of clout.
That's yeah.
Let's get a click. It's disgusting. Let's just let it lie now. Let things take the course. If he hasn't said it, everyone apologises. We move on. If he has said it, then let due course take action.
Absolutely, yeah. I do want to shout out our two lads who are on our Preston North End podcast when asked about it, who basically said, look, if it's been proven that what he said, then they never want to see him in a Preston shirt ever again. So
brilliant.
There are some decent Preston fans out there. Right, let's hope we never talk about that. Let's focus back now on business in hand. I just want to shout out one other player, actually, Robbie Brady at Connor. Great goal. Sorry to rub that in. But he didn't celebrate. And he actually applauded the Burnley fans as well at the end as well. So, nice relationship you still have with Mr. Brady.
Oh, yeah. I think he was just very unlucky with injuries with us. I think he could have been 10 times the player he was with us if he wasn't stretching off all game. But touch of class to go up and applaud the away fans. And it was a hell of a free kick as well. I think I've seen every Burnley fan say, yeah, and you can't do anything about it. So I still really like him, and
the worst thing is, you knew it were coming. The second he stepped up for that free kick, you knew what were coming.
Yeah, my heart stopped.
Right. Well, from hating Preston, now you've got to cheer for them this weekend because they head to Sheffield United at Bramall Lane this weekend. Come on, Ismailowicz. Yeah. My God. Too soon. Gotcha. Now Leeds will go to Pompey. So they've got a difficult game. Now you've got a chance here then. So Cardiff away Tuesday night, which of course we don't know the result of before us on this, and Luton at home, which you absolutely went to Kenilworth Road on this first Monday of the season and battered them with this particular team here, Dan. So how far have we moved on from that opening day of the season? This is a whole different Burnley side, this, isn't it, to what we're going to get now. Just compare and contrast for me, please, this side that beat Luton to the one you're now going to face this Saturday.
I mean, there's no real comparison. You look through that team there, you've got Audibert, you've got O'Shea in the defence. Now, to be perfectly honest, the back line isn't an awful lot of difference, and I'd probably take Egan Riley over O'Shea. That being said, it's not massively different, to be perfect. You've only got Vitinho, Audibert, and that's it, really. There's only two that says massively changed. Cully O'Shea won't play. Foster may or may not play. So you've got to think we'll give him a good hiding. I didn't realise that was the starting team against Luton all those months ago. I thought we had more of the, Amdouni, Batanderberg, or what have you. Clearly, I was wrong. So it should be 4-0. It's simple. I would say 4-1, but we're not going to concede with Trafford in goal and with CJ and Esteve at the back. Yeah. So, I mean, let's be honest. We've both come down. We've both had parachute payments. Everyone is whinging and moaning at Parker. We've said in this podcast many times, he's had an awful lot to deal with. He had to sell 180 million quid worth of players. He's had to bring in whatever he can. If you're whinging about Parker, go and support Luton. Look what season they're having. They're bottom by a lot. Knock yourselves out. We're going to hammer Cardiff. We're going to hammer Luton. We're going to go up second. We've said it. Done.
Yeah, I think this is a really important week. Glad you said that, Dan, because I've got a feeling Preston won't lose to Sheffield United. I'm not sure Leeds will beat Portsmouth either. So if you can pick up 6 points this week, Jordan, this really does put the bird amongst the cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak, at the top of the table, doesn't it?
Oh, of course it does. Just a quick note on Preston. Let's take everything out of it. As a team, so well drilled, so well drilled. They know what they're doing. Okay, the lads are a bit rough and a bit cheaty, in my opinion. But if that's how you win games, that's how you win games, and that's they go out and do that. So I am looking forward to see how they take to Sheffield, because very much like ourselves, they've got a lot of flash players. But like you say, when you 10 shades getting kicked out, that flash goes. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. It really does put a big mixture on for the top end of the table. And I think Pompey for Leeds could be a bit of a banana skin, because Leeds are someone who will bring the game onto you. We saw that ourselves. They put us on the back foot in the first, 30 minutes with Callum Lang. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a nice weekend. It's going to be a nice Tuesday and a nice weekend of football to really see where the mixture comes, because now you get into the business end. Everything before that is irrelevant now. This is seriously the business end. And with 4 or 5 points in it between 4 teams, it's going to get tasty.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderfully said. Let us know in the comments whether you agree with all of that. And whilst you're here, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. We're trying to get to 300. We're so close. So close to 300. That'd be absolutely massive. Thank you so much. Right. February Player of the Month time then, please. Connor, we're obviously not going to choose the one that the club are going to choose. We're going to try and pick out someone who deserves flowers.
Steve.
God. Connor?
Oh, sorry. Well, you're saying Steve, I didn't know what was going on. I think, it's a choice between 2 players here. Josh Cullen, which was my second choice. I'm going to go with Jaden Anthony. Can't get enough of that bloke. I absolutely love him to bits. I think all of our creative magic and creative work comes out of him and Marcus Edwards. But no, I think Anthony for me, Cullen close second.
Yeah, good shout. Dan?
Josh Brown. Oh, no, sorry. I think everyone will say Steve, so we'll go a little bit left to centre. I think there's a shout to give it to James Trafford. And I know that's going to be an unpopular opinion, because everyone says we defend from the front and what have you. But the only thing I can say for him is the amount of criticism he got last season, to come and have the season he's had, keep a clean sheet all the way through February, and again, all since December. And we've played some decent teams in that. And he's pulled off a few decent saves. I wasn't a fan of his. I hold my hand up and say I've possibly got that wrong. It's not all about the defence and the amount of shots, because he's had some difficult saves, one-on-ones and what have you. So I'll give him the nod, just because it's Steve, let's be honest. But I'll go with Traff.
Okay. Jordan?
Oh, this is an easy one for me. Connor Roberts, he's been fantastic. I really realised how important he is to us. So are you, mate? How's it going?
Yeah.
Get back in squad. No, it's after seeing what happened on Saturday. That game was screaming out for Connor, just to calm that back line down. If you notice, he does that a lot, and he really does drag us up the pitch for a right back that can get forward. I always thought that Connor were quite one-dimensional, and all he did was defend. Now we've seen with a bit more freedom. He's overlapping. He does the dirty work at the back, and he's very passionate about Burnley, which I thought would be a hard thing for a lad from Swansea. But he's very passionate about our club. When he scored last weekend, and you saw that, that really meant something to him. Connor Roberts for me, he's been fantastic. Not just this month, but for quite a few seasons.
Yeah. Good shouts all round. Let us know yours in the comments. One final question this week. If you were here last week, you'll know that we were sending some teams down last week. We were sick of the sight of this week. We're being a little bit nicer, and we're manifesting the playoff final, because the AFL have now announced it's going to be held on Saturday, the 24th of May. Now then, we are going to say that Burnley are going to be going up with Leeds, so we don't have to worry about Burnley being anywhere near this playoff final. So, come on, you've got your shorts on, your sandals on, you're in a beer garden somewhere in Burnley. and you're watching the playoff final on the 24th of May on a hot, sunny Saturday. Dan, who do you want to be watching?
I tell you, I'd love to be watching, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'd love to see it between Bristol and Coventry, just for a bit of something different. I'm sorry, Connor, I've rained on your parade there. But, yeah, I just think I think Coventry, I don't like Frank Lampard. I thought he was a terrible manager, but he's gone there and he's done an absolutely amazing job. And Bristol have just been absolutely flying this last however long. They've been really going along. So I just think for a bit of something different, bit of something else for the fans to see, those two.
Okay. Connor?
Coventry, Bristol City, and I don't think I need to say anything. So just let's repeat what Dan said.
I'm sorry, Connor.
Jordan?
I'm going a bit different and I'm going a bit sinister. Right, I want Sunderland Blackburn, right, and I want it to end 5-4 on penalties, just because I want 120 minutes of hope, another 10 minutes of hope, and then just down to the last kick, and then they back down, back to reality. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the hope building up and then the deflation, because that'll just be how we felt on Saturday. I'd love to see it happen to them. So I'm going Sunderland Blackburn, and then for them to lose on penalties 5-4.
Right, cruel. Right. Let us know in the comments whether you agree with all of that. Thank you, all three of you, for joining us this week. Thank you very much for watching. Do drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet done so. We'll be back next week to review the Luton game and also talk about who we'd like to see come up from League One. Join us for that chat next week. Thank you very much, you three. We'll see you in 7 days' time.
Steve.
See you later.
Hey now.
Steve.